Hi, this is Seema. Thanks for clicking in. Well, have you ever been in a situation where someone keeps talking to you and you want to get out of the conversation? Now, I know you might feel a little awkward, a little rude because of having to get out of that conversation. But I'm going to show you a few ways, a few tips of how to get out of a conversation without having to feel rude or awkward. Okay, let's look at the first way of getting out or ending a conversation. The first thing you have to remember when you want to end or get out of a conversation is to always smile. In other words, you've got to look very friendly. So before you say anything, before ending a conversation, ensure that you look friendly, and you can only achieve this by giving your best smile, right? And you do this so that the person who you are talking to should feel that you have enjoyed having a conversation with them. You have absolutely enjoyed talking to them. Okay, so the first tip is that always look friendly by giving a really nice smile. Okay, the second tip in order to end or get out of a conversation is to make a positive comment and give a reason. Now, as we already saw at the beginning, we don't want to sound rude. So therefore, we are going to make a positive comment about the person we are talking to. Okay, it could be anything positive. And then you are going to give a reason as to why you've got to stop talking to them. So you could say something like, "You're so funny." Or you could say something like, "I could talk to you all day. You're so entertaining." So give a couple of positive comments, and then you can give your reason as to why you should go. So you can say something like, "You're so funny. I could keep talking to you all day. However, I've got some errands to run, or maybe I've got some household chores to attend to, so I've got to run. See you later." Okay? Does that sound better? Because that way you don't sound rude, because you've made a positive comment and you've given a very valid reason as to why you've got to stop talking. Okay? All right then, the third way of successfully and effectively getting out of a conversation is to summarize whatever you've been talking about and then informing the person you are talking to about your next action. Okay, so what does summarize mean? Summarize is basically, talking about the main points. So in a conversation, you kind of talk about many things, okay? But summarizing is basically quickly discussing the main points you've discussed, okay? So maybe you and your work colleague, say you are working on a project together at your job. So you are going to do something for your boss. So you can summarize by saying, "Look, I'm going to prepare the reports and you are going to make the presentation." That's the summary of whatever you have discussed. And then you are going to inform your colleague about the next action. So you can say that, "Okay, we are going to discuss the details of the presentation next week." So when you summarize, you basically tell the person that you have discussed whatever you wanted to. You have finished your discussion. Most meetings and most debates always end with a summary of whatever you have spoken. That is another way of telling that you have finished saying whatever you've wanted to say. So always summarize the main points you've discussed and inform the other person of the next action that you are going to take. Okay, the next way of getting out of a conversation is giving a slight pause. Now, a conversation can get quite tedious, can get excruciatingly long if you keep talking or if you keep listening to someone. So sometimes when you're saying something, you've got to give a slight pause, because that indicates that you have nothing more to say. And after giving a slight pause, you can always, begin your statement with words like, well, or anyway. So say, for example, you've been talking to your friend about a trip you had taken with your partner, and you've kind of, spoken about it for quite a long time, and now you think that it's time to end that conversation. So you are going to give a slight pause after having spoken for quite a bit, and then you can say, well, anyway, the kids need help with their homework. I've got to go home. I'll see you later, or I'll catch up with you later. So when you give a slight pause, it indicates that you have nothing more to say, which is an indication that you're finished talking. And then you can start your statement by saying, well, anyway, I've got to do whatever it is that you want to do, and kind of exit your conversation. Okay? The next and very important tip, if you want to end a conversation, is to always show respect for the other person's time. Time is valuable for everybody, right? So if someone has taken time out of their busy schedule to talk to you, you've got to respect that, right? So how do you respect the other person's time, or how do you show respect for the other person's time? Well, you can use statements like, I don't want to keep you. Or you could say something like, I'm sure you must be very busy. So, you are in the conversation with your work colleague who maybe runs a business, and you want to come out of the conversation, but to show that you respect your friend's time, you can say that, well, I'm sure you must be very busy running a school or running your classes. I don't want to keep you. I've got to go, but I'll catch up with you some other time. So when you show respect for someone else's time, you avoid being rude, and getting out of a conversation will not be so awkward for you anymore. Okay, and the last or the final bit that you might want to kind of, use when you want to get out of a conversation is to express your regret and make future promises in order to make sure that you can have future conversations. Okay, now how do you express your regret? There are a few sentences you can use. You could say something like, I hate to tell you this, but my mom's waiting for me. Or I hate to tell you this, but I've got a class to attend to. So you're basically telling the person that you regret having to stop the conversation. So that way you don't sound rude and it's not so awkward for you. And once you've done that, once you've expressed your regret, it's very important to sometimes make future promises. So after you've said that, I hate to tell you this, but I'm going to have to leave, you can say that, how about a meeting next Tuesday for a cup of coffee? Or why don't you come over to my place tomorrow night and we shall have dinner and talk about this some more. So one more thing to remember is that if you express your regret and follow that up by making a promise, only make a promise if you are going to keep it. And only make a promise if you mean to actually speak or have a conversation with that same person in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sure if you use these few tips, you will be able to get out of a conversation without having to feel rude, awkward, or sorry that you actually have to come out of it. Well, I'll catch you with some more new videos. Until then, this is me saying goodbye.